It was the Iroquois who had settled here. They were also known as the Haudenosaunee, or People of the Longhouse. Over time, they formed a peaceful coalition of 5 tribes. To the ancient people of Niagara, the greatest of the spirits were the thunder beings who lived under the falls. The name Niagara is said to originate from the native word Angiaris. It is from the oral traditions of these people that the story of Lulawala, the Maiden of the Mist, comes down to us through time. As a young woman, Lulawala left her village on the river. Some say that she lost her husband, and thus her hope of a happy life. Some say that her father promised her as a wife to the king of the Angiaris nation. It was a great honor, but Lulawala could not love him, for she was in love with another. As she did not wish to bring shame to her family and dishonor to the wise old elder, she was forced to leave her village. Another legend tells of a great snake that lived beneath the river and came to the village to poison the water so he could eat the dead. It was a heroic Lulawala who volunteered to offer herself to the thunder gods in hopes they would help her people. It is said that it was He-No, greatest of all the thunder beings, who caught her and then killed the snake with a thunderbolt. Other versions of the story say the spirit of Lulawala returned to tell her people of the snake so they could destroy it. As it floated downstream, its head and tail caught on opposite sides of the river, creating the semicircle of the falls. Whatever the truth of the legend, there are those who say you can see her still in the rainbow of the mist beneath the falls. It wasn't until the late 17th century that the Europeans came to Niagara. Among them, French explorer Robert Cavelier, better known as La Salle, who would later explore the Mississippi River and Gulf of Mexico. La Salle was charged with developing the lucrative fur trade with the Iroquois. He also dreamed of finding a mythical land route to China. He and his men became snowbound near the Great Lakes in the severe winter of 1678. Franciscan Recollect priest, Father Louis Hennepin, recorded the extraordinary events of the expedition.
The waters of the gorge are too treacherous to navigate. We have abandoned our ship. We have entered that portion of the river Captain Cavalier supposes to be the route to his China passage. By our calculation, it connects 2 Great Lakes. But it is clear, God has deemed this passage is not to be gained with ease. The Indians tell us of an overland route to the lake above. The trail traverses a 300-foot escarpment the natives call Crawl on All Fours. Once on top, we will build a new craft and go on. For 3 days now, the wind has carried a most frightful noise. The Indians murmur among themselves of spirits that inhabit this place. The camp is beset with fear. What God has willed for us, we know not. but we shall march forward, sustained by our faith. Nothing I've seen or imagined can be referenced to compare with the wonder of this place the Indians call Thundering Water, Niagara.
With the coming of the explorers, the Europeans learned what the natives had always known. Water was the way west. It was perhaps inevitable that conflict would arise. There were a number of reasons for the War of 1812 between the youthful United States and the British Empire. The British had blocked trade between the Americans and their ally France. American sailors had been captured and forced to serve in the British Navy. And the British supported native tribes who fought American expansion into new territories. Perhaps, too, Americans had an eye on the rich lands above their northern border. On July 25, 1814, the Battle of Lundy's Lane, one of the bloodiest battles of the war, took place very close to the falls.
How many artillery pieces? Field? Stationary?
They brought it down from the falls. I couldn't tell you for certain. We got a couple of them, but just couldn't get them.
Take the look out! Pass your musket! Forward light section! Light infantry ready! Fire at will!
All told, the battle claimed more than 250 lives and more than 1,100 missing or wounded. The British had the better of the battle, but would soon lose the war. While the war did not solve all issues between the powers of the old and new worlds, by 1846, the boundaries between the United States and Canada had been drawn. By the 1850s, the frontier was gone. Niagara soon became the Mecca for the ordinary folk. In the winter, you could walk across the frozen river below the falls, what locals called the Ice Bridge, where there were souvenir huts and food vendors. In summer, you could ride the steamboat right up to the falls.
How'd you do? Welcome to Niagara, Your Honor. Thank you.
Presidents, painters, poets, even a future king of England all came to the new playground. A few brave souls had other ideas and would risk all for a moment of glory. The most famous of Niagara's daredevils, Jean-Francois Gravelet, was better known as the Great Blondin.
Let Blondin through. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let Blondin through. Excuse me. Stand up. Excuse me. Blondin.
For over a year, Blondin had been captivated by the falls and knew he must cross the Niagara River on a tightrope or die trying.
Blondin? Oh. Blondin? Blondin? The prince.
Good luck and best wishes to you.
It's an honor. Now, may I extend an invitation? We go in my back and we walk together?
No. I will walk alone.
Let's go. Wait.
It was in June of 1859 that he was ready to make history. He stretched a rope 1,100 feet, connecting the United States and Canada.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
the great London of France is about to perform an act of true daring, a feat never before attempted by mortal man. Your attention, please. He is about to begin.
He carried a balancing pole weighing 40 pounds and walked out upon a rope only 3 inches in diameter. In the years that followed, more than 10 daredevils would risk their lives following in Blondin's footsteps, including Andrew Jenkins, the professor, who rode a bicycle on a wire; Maria Spalterini, the first woman to walk a wire across the river; and Nick Wallenda, from the famous Flying Wallenda family, who fought strong winds while making a successful crossing in 2012.